Okay, so we're going to finish up the paragraphs by talking about, well, how you finish your paragraphs. So we're going to talk about the steps for revision, which are evaluation, revision, editing, and proofreading, and how these apply to the paragraphs that you've written. In particular, how they apply for the paragraph revision assignment that you have coming up. So you have your paragraph drafted. So now what do you do with it? Well, the first thing you're going to want to do is evaluate it. The evaluation step is about figuring out how to write the best kind of paragraph that you can. So the first thing you want to do is take a breather. Often, right after you write a paragraph or an essay, it's really hard to see any errors that you've made or anything that needs to be changed because you know what you meant when you were writing it. So if you can, let the paper or the paragraph cool or rest for a few days or hours before revising it. And that'll make it a lot easier to see any unclear arguments or opportunities with organization or any places where phrasing can be improved. A lot of times what'll happen is when you let it set for a couple of days, you'll come back and you'll go, wait, I don't even know what I meant there. And then you'll know you'll need to go back and fix, whatever that part is. It happens to the best of us. So in evaluation, you want to assess your writing goals for your paragraph, how well you achieved those goals, what you did well, and where you can improve. It's a good idea to ask for feedback from me or from peers. In your case, you'll already have that feedback given to you because I've already graded them and I've given you the feedback for your paragraphs. So some questions you might want to ask yourself are about the purpose. What is the purpose of my paragraph or paper? Where is it clear, and where could I make it clearer? You'll want to look at the topic sentence and ask yourself things like, what is my topic sentence? Is it clear and specific? Does it appear in the right place? And if not, how can I make it clearer or make it so that it does appear in the right place? You'll also want to look at things like your argument and your structure. So for your argument, does my evidence explain my topic sentence? In other words, does everything I say in the paper somehow relate back to that topic sentence? Do I introduce, present, and explain all of my evidence? And do my arguments make sense? And then for structure, is there a clear organizational structure? Do the main points connect to the topic sentence? And do I have a clear transition sentence? So once you answer the questions, you'll want to develop a plan for improvement and ask yourself how you can address the issues that you noted. This is easier said than done. If you need help, ask for it. I can often help you, guide you through it, or you can ask for a tutor if you don't want to ask me for help. So revision is literally revision. It's seeing something in a different way. In this case, seeing your paper or your paragraph in a different way. So revision is about making big picture changes to things like structure, thesis, and argument, or adding in new evidence. Often papers require multiple revisions to get close to final form, and by close to final form, we mean the editing step. So editing is what comes next. Revision, just make sure you're asking those questions and going back and applying your answers and assessing objectively as you can. So editing is about getting closer to being finished. It's smoothing out the rough spots. You may also want to do another smaller round of evaluating here and ask things like, are the ideas in my paragraphs presented in the best order? Does everything flow well? Could I add any transitional elements to improve flow? Are there any places that are repetitive or unclear? And is there any place where the wording could be more effective? Proofreading is the final step in the process, and this is about polishing everything up. So you want to look for things in sentence structure like run-ons, comma splices, fragments, fused sentences, anything like that. You want to check for agreement in your sentences. Make sure your subjects and verbs agree. Make sure your pronouns and antecedents agree. We haven't yet talked about these in this class, but we will soon. Check for your verb tenses and your verb forms. Make sure your subjects and verbs agree. Make sure that you're being consistent with tense or that you're using the right form of the verb. Check your punctuation, make sure everything's where it should be, and spelling as well. And then some tips for proofreading. Read the paragraph multiple times, because rarely do we catch all the errors the first time through. In in-person classes, I've gone through an exercise where we proofread something together, and students have found that there are times where I miss things, and it's not that I don't know how to fix them, it's that I just didn't see them on the first read. My brain auto-corrected. And so it helps to read it multiple times to catch those things that you don't catch the first time around. Reading aloud is a really, really good tip because it forces you to slow down and it keeps your brain from auto-correcting your mistakes. Often, maybe you're reading a sentence and it was supposed to have a comma to fix a run-on, but in your head that comma's there. You just don't see it on the page. Well, reading aloud will help you to identify things like that. It also will help you to see awkward wording, because when you read it aloud, it will sound weird, and then go back and fix it. It also can be helpful to ask for a second set of eyes, because sometimes other people see things that we don't. That's why we have editors, right? And then finally, you want to look at formatting. So we're going to go into a little bit more detail in formatting here than we'll use in this class, but this will help you in other classes. So there are specific types of formatting and guides that are used for different specialties. In English, we use the Modern Language Association, which is called MLA. The social sciences tend to use the style guide of the American Psychiatric Association, which is APA. Many of the humanities, particularly like in drama and music, use Chicago and Turabian. Turabian is the student version of Chicago. And I think also history uses Chicago Turabian a lot. And then like in medicine, they tend to use the American Medical Association, which is AMA. And you'll learn more about these with your major. The key takeaway is make sure you follow the guidelines for those guides or anything that is outlined in the instructions. So these will be things like font, size of the text, the way that the paragraphs are spaced, how citations are formatted, and whether or not there's a reference or works cited page, and what you include on that and in what order. In English classes, we use MLA, and in this class, I use a modified or simplified version of MLA. And that's why I stress things like the font, or that it's double spaced, or that you have your title centered, and things like that, because you will need those those basic formatting ideas in future English classes, and I'm trying to get you in the habit of it. So we use MLA in English classes, which involves 12-point Times New Roman font, double spaced, last name and page number in the top right corner. I don't make you do that in this class. And an MLA heading in the top left corner. That should say top left. So that's kind of the breakdown of your MLA formatting right there as it pertains to unresearched paragraphs. So at this point, you can pat yourself on the back if you fixed everything, because you're done and you are ready to turn your assignment in. And that is it for the revision and your polishing, finishing your paragraphs lecture. I look forward to seeing your revisions later this week, and I hope you guys have a great day.